Greetings, everyone. This is Deborah coming from Channel House Audio Tours. Again, in the Curfew Lime. We started the Curfew Lime as a way of introducing entrepreneurs or just regular persons to you at this time to see how they're coping in this season of the coronavirus, whether they be entrepreneurs or just staying at home with their families and just giving us a little coping mechanisms of what we can do during the season. And today, I have the pleasure of having Dawn Williams with us. And
Hi.
hi, Dawn. And I'm certainly looking forward to what she has to share with us. There's so many times we hear someone have a particular profession and we just pigeonhole them in that profession. And we are so happy to be able to have these opportunities to share because then we get to see how multidimensional we are as people and not this one focus that we have. So at this time, I'm going to have Dawn give us a bit about herself and her company, and then what our main conversation piece will be this morning. Go ahead, Dawn.
Hi, good morning to everyone, and thank you for having me on this curfew line. All right. So my name is Dawn Williams, and I am the founder of Resilia Accounting Services, and that's RESILIA Accounting Services. So basically, we cater to small businesses in Barbados, and we offer a wide range of accounting services to them, from monthly bookkeeping to tax compliance to business plan preparation, preparations for persons that are going in for financing, preparation of financial statements. So anything accounting related as it relates to small businesses, we will help out. We can do that. So right now, we have a team of 2 persons. We are a small powerhouse. So it's myself and Tonya Brathwaite, who is our accounting and administrative associate. And so between the 2 of us, we divide and conquer, as we like to say. So right now we have a website, so it's www.resiliaaccounting.com. We are also on social media on Facebook and Instagram at Resilia Accounting. So you can follow us there. Even if you are not a paid customer, you will find that if you follow us on our social media, you may get a bunch of free accounting tips. And maybe sometimes not always accounting, but business related tips for you to consider in your own business practice or in your own personal practice as well.
Mm-hmm.
So this morning, I will be sharing a bit about how I am coping in this whole coronavirus scenario, as well as giving you a little information on a second hat that I wear, which is co-founding a charity. So we'll talk about that in a bit.
Okay, great. Now, that's great to hear about your business. And I would like you now to just share a bit about your experience, if any, with Channel House Audio Tours.
Sure. Well, I would have was that recently? I would have attended a tour which was hosted by the Institute of Chartered Accountants of Barbados, and it was headed by Chapel House Tours, Audio Tours, and it was a tour of the museum area, the Garrison area. So first of all, it was great exercise. we had we had to walk a fair distance, so it was a good excuse to get out of the house on a Saturday morning, to get some good fresh air and to learn a bit of the history of Barbados. I must say that Deborah, you know quite a lot in terms of our history, because I did learn a lot on that tour. So I found that the tour was well managed, it was well organized, it was informative, very informative. And yeah, I actually look forward to doing another one when time permits.
Yes, we know how it is. Yes,
Yeah.
with your timing. Yes, that's great. I'm a little scared now because the second person that talk about exercise and and we already know what my issue is with exercise. So maybe people are going to get kind of confused now when they hear exercise, and she's always talking about she doesn't exercise. You know, they're going to have no concern.
No, trust me. It's two in one. It's a learning exercise, if you want to call it
Yes,
that.
yeah, learning to exercise. Yeah, that's going to put it in that context. So for those of you who don't know Chatham House audio tours, we do walking tours. We also do personalized or customized island tours. And the tour that Dawn mentioned was the one of the historic garrison and its museum. And the focus of that tour is to take you around the garrison, highlighting mainly the buildings and the original usage of those buildings, especially during the military season. And then we end at the Barbados Museum, where many Barbadians have not been for a while.
It's
So
true.
for many of them, it's a new experience. And for those who are visiting the island, they get to see quite a bit of what Barbadian life was like before and other aspects of Barbados during the visit to the museum. And because it is my hometown in a sense, and very close to me in terms of family connections and the garrison and racing and all that, it is one of, I mean, I enjoy everything that I do, but the garrison history has a special place in my heart because of the family connection. So anytime you're free to join us on one of our tours, and Barbados, the historic garrison and the museum is one of those. We also do the garrison and George Washington House once George Washington House is available, as well as the Barbados Armory, the National Armory at the Defense Force. Again, once it's available, that is also another option for you. Now, in terms of my interaction with Miss Dawn, well, as an accountant, you will say, well, you wouldn't need to use Miss Dawn's services. Well, actually, she is the accounting person on my board of directors, and that is my personal board of directors. So yes, the company has a board of directors, but I've also established a personal board of directors that deals with different aspects of my life. And Dawn is the one who helps me with my financial side. And I must say that when I'm like, Dawn, help! She's got the quiet, calm voice of reason. The way she's finished, I go, I knew that, but you once you're in it, you don't often get like to remember this is what you're supposed to do. So it's
It's
good that
true.
I have you there to, to help me, to talk me through sometimes, to remind me sometimes, to calm me sometimes. And I really appreciate that role. Now
You're
I'm
welcome.
sharing that, but remember her her business is offering the services. She just happens to be the one who accepted to be my personal director. So don't go rushing her thinking that this is some service that she does, and just to give you some more information about the personal directorship, it's someone that you consult with maybe every 3 months, every 6 months, or as the need arises, and you pretty much just spend a few minutes or half an hour just going through some things that you might need to address. So just in case
Right.
you want to consider something like that for yourself, and try to find
Yeah.
someone who you can connect with and who is
Yeah.
not
Think
just
think
great.
about
Go ahead.
think about it like personal mentoring. So it's
Yes,
not a formal program, but for
yes.
your own personal development, yes.
Yes, yeah, exactly. And just so you may not, I think everyone is going to need a financial person, but for you, your directors may be different to my directors that I would need. So maybe that's something
Right.
that you can consider during this time of the curfew lime, that you can sit down and probably look at persons that you think that can be part of your directorship. As I was going to say just now, it has to be persons who are going to give you the hard truths, and you'll be willing to accept those hard truths. You don't want anyone who's going to just agree with everything you say and everything you want to do.
Right.
That's not the purpose. Okay? So I wanted to share that. But I want now for us to turn our attention to your other hat. And I
Right.
want to share some more about that because that's something that I've actually learned a lot through you.
Mm-hmm.
And
Okay.
I just want to mention here, as I mentioned to you before we started, that we're almost at two different ends of the spectrum, where you're dealing with endo and I'm dealing with beta pooper, which is primary ovarian failure. So we are
Right.
almost at two different ends of that spectrum. But today is not about the primary ovarian failure. I'll give you the opportunity to tell us some more about your charity and the type of work that you're doing.
Sure. Okay, so actually, I just only remembered after I started that I am actually involved in two charities, but this one is the Barbados Association of Endometriosis and PCOS. So that's a long name. So people usually shorten it to BAEP. And again, we are on social media, well, a lot of social media. um, so on Facebook, you can find us at EndoFacts, that is ENDOFACTS. And on Instagram, Twitter, um, what else are we on? LinkedIn, and our website. All those are at ENDOANDPCOSBB. So that's endo and PCOSBB.com. So that's where we are at. And we basically are a volunteer organization that focuses on supporting women in Barbados that are primarily diagnosed or trending towards diagnosis of endometriosis and PCOS. We also do support other gynecological conditions other than cancer, because there already is cancer support services and the Cancer Society in Barbados.
Right.
So we focus on the non-cancerous gynecological
Okay.
conditions. So on our social media, you will find information about other conditions as well, like fibroids and adenomyosis and those other conditions as well. Um, so I personally suffer with endometriosis, and I was diagnosed in 2006. And it was a long journey because I always had issues when it comes to period time. And so I always knew something was wrong, but it was never really diagnosed. It was often misdiagnosed before it was actually diagnosed, which happens to a lot of women,
Yes.
because the average time to diagnose it is about 10 years. And I guess the same thing sometimes goes for PCOS as well. Yeah, sometimes the same thing goes for PCOS as well. PCOS, by the way, stands for polycystic ovarian syndrome. So those are the two main conditions that we advocate for. Um, in terms of what we do specifically, so we do have support groups like on WhatsApp and sometimes in person, because we do have psychologists on board. We also do have medical doctors, sorry, for who will give us some guidance and some clarity with things that we are not familiar with. My co-founder, Julia Mandeville, she is involved in public health, so that is her area of expertise. And so, sorry, my cat has decided to, to
That's
join
okay. You're
the chat.
that, and I think the bread man. Someone is out here blowing a horn. So that's okay.
So that's basically how we are made up. Oh, also to our president is a pelvic health physiotherapist. So we have a fairly well-rounded board, and we try to offer not only information online but tangible support as well, so that the we purposely partner with businesses and individuals that can give our members and our supporters a more holistic treatment option. So we have persons on board that provide like aesthetic services, because with especially with PCOS, it's a very hormonal illness, so it causes things like hair growth on the face and that kind of stuff, which
Right.
you know women will want to treat as well. So those kind of things, and then you have things like massages. We have pharmacies on board that offer discounts to our members. Um, we have the nutrition. So nutrition guidance and plans and that kind of stuff. And then we also have the psychologists who can offer psychological support.
Oh,
So
wow.
yeah, we have a fairly well-rounded team. Right now, our membership is very young and very small, but we are hoping with as time goes
More
by and with
more
the way
awareness.
how correct with more awareness that more persons will get on board.
Yeah. I must say, as I said earlier, I didn't know a lot about the association, if any, until I saw your posting, and then I joined you in one of your fundraisers, the Paint and Sip or Sip and Paint. So I
Yes,
still
yes,
have
yes.
my. I actually had planned to bring my piece on camera. Um,
I have one from this year.
okay, let me
If
see if
you
I
would
can
like to
keep
see,
it.
I have one from this year. This year's one looks way better than last year.
Oh, okay. Well, this is
But this is
mine.
my
Oh my
yeah, you see,
goodness, I love yours. Yeah,
yeah.
that would have been great. I'm sorry I missed that one now.
It was a lot of fun. It was a lot of fun.
So these are the type of ways in which they have been raising funds by having events like this. And then you get to be able to show off your piece. You know, I
Exactly.
have it here. As soon as you come through my door, you can see it.
Correct.
So they're not just sitting down waiting for handouts or just public support, but in terms of just, asking for sponsorship, but they are doing a bit more to make their cause a reality. I must admit that I've had an encounter with a colleague who I believe has the condition, and
Mm,
but for me, in advising her, I feel sometimes I misadvise her because I would
mm,
say to her, you're missing too many days. You have to try to figure out some way of cutting down on this. And I knew doing that was giving her some pressure, but I was caught
mm,
between her and who I know the expectations. So while for me I
mm.
understood to a certain extent, I couldn't. I still felt like, okay, they're going to come and say, listen, you're just taking too many days off. We're going to have to let you go. And I was trying to manage that. And I'm sure that's a real thing for many of you. And
Yep.
now that I'm hearing more and more is the case sometimes that you can't even probably make that phone call because you're in so much pain.
Correct.
Yeah.
Correct. So I find that in Barbados, no, as opposed to maybe 10 years ago, I find that employers and persons generally are tending to be more aware and therefore a little bit more sympathetic. Maybe not all,
Yeah.
but a few
Yeah.
more persons know than before, and so there are like nowadays there are more options in terms of if you are unable to physically come into work,
Mhm.
there are more options now, well, especially no. With the exactly, you have no choice now, right?
Actually, this may actually help you because now you have a blueprint that you can use to say, hey guys,
Exactly,
look, look what happened during this period. Yeah.
exactly, right. And it also will affect the particular jobs that persons that are affected will apply for or that they will qualify for, because there are obviously more physical jobs than others.
Mhm.
So sometimes those physical jobs may be a little too much for persons that
Right.
suffer with that condition, particularly those that suffer with it 24/7, because there are some persons that the pain will be constricted to the menstrual cycle. But
Mhm.
then there are other persons like myself that have pain like every day.
Wow.
Um, so yeah, so it does affect every area of your life basically. And now I'm finding that employers are a bit more amenable to negotiating with their staff in terms of how to make working conditions a little more comfortable
Good.
for them.
Good. Good. So I hope that a lot of that change has come about because of your association, and that you
I
will
hope so too.
continue that you will continue to be the advocate for those persons, and also be the face, because there's sometimes, we often very afraid to come out and speak about what our challenges are, especially when it comes to health, and more so when it comes to those parts of our bodies that we are told to, you're not supposed to talk about them, kind of thing. So,
Yeah, yeah,
and you're afraid to come out. So I'm happy that we are able to now, have you there speaking out. When I say you, I mean the association speaking out.
correct.
Give those people who don't want to come forward, at least when they hear you talk about how much pain you're in and you can't get this, you can't get that, then they have a sense of feeling a kind of kindred spirits, of saying,
Yeah,
okay,
exactly. Like I'm not alone.
right, exactly. I'm not alone in
Yeah,
this, and I can make it through because I see her good days as well. So I know my good days are going to come as well.
correct,
Right.
correct.
So that's good. So how are you coping then in this? I mean, to a certain extent, then you might have been before winners of the curfew period. So,
Well,
but how are you
my
coping
business.
though? Hmm.
Sure. My business, Resilient Accounting Services, we have a mixture of clients. So we have some clients that we can work remotely, and then there are others who sometimes we do have to go to their offices.
Hmm.
So what we had to do then was to kind of go through the whole list and see what was critical, what could be done remotely, what can't be done remotely, and
Right.
then contact those persons to have a plan going forward. So in terms of the business, that's how we are coping. So we have a portfolio then that we can work from home with and
Yeah.
submit information for and that kind of thing. But then there are some others who understand that they will be a little on hold until after this whole thing passes. So that's how we are coping in terms of business. Then in terms of me personally, and with well dealing with the whole endometriosis thing, I find the whole deliveries push in Barbados right now is a godsend because like honestly before the whole COVID-19 pandemic came about, well, specifically in Barbados,
Mhm.
if I wanted food, like for example, there are some days when I am too much in pain to stand up to cook, right? But you still got to eat, right? So
Right.
there were only maybe like two service providers that were delivering to St. Lucie because that's where I live,
Right.
and yeah, so and the choices, the options were really not. so so now it actually gives me a wider range of options, and I
Right.
really hope that it actually goes past COVID-19, that we
Yes.
continue with, yeah, because yeah, this is definitely a push direction. So yeah, so there are some times when in too much pain to cook, um, sometimes in too much pain to do anything really, and then so then it's just knowing your body too and knowing when
Mhm.
to rest and hopefully not beating up yourself, because I struggle with that daily in terms of not beating up not beating up yourself when you have to rest, when you know it's like a normal working day and you think, oh my gosh, I have all these things to do and that kind of stuff. But it's a challenge, but it's a process as
Yes.
well. I'm getting a little better, I must say. I'm getting getting a little better. Yeah, because honestly, last week was a lot of resting, I must say. It's a lot of resting. I mean, I still did a little work, but not as much as I would usually have
Okay.
done.
Right. Yeah.
Exactly. So yeah, so that's basically how I am coping. I also to I this whole situation has also highlighted to me the, what should I say? I don't want to say neediness, but that's the only word that comes to mind.
Okay.
The neediness of some persons in our community. Because, like for me right now, I am battling with a situation of a little smoke in my area that is affecting me personally, and I'm pretty sure it's affecting other people. But at
Right.
the same time, when we trace the source, we realized that it was an older gentleman who, he doesn't have electricity in his home, and so his gas stove stops working, and basically now he's forced now
Yes.
to cook outside.
Outside.
Um, And those kind of situations, I find are being highlighted a bit more as a
Yeah,
result of this whole lockdown kind of
right.
situation. And I think that, well, I'm hoping that as a result of this, that some intervention can be done on a wider scale across Barbados, because I'm pretty sure he's not the only person in that
Yeah.
situation.
Well, now that you've mentioned that, what I would like to suggest is that the communities try then to step up to the plate, and like in your instance where you know you've identified this gentleman, try to identify then what can you do to as a community
Right,
to
right.
represent
We
him.
have started.
Okay, go
Yeah,
ahead.
we have started a process. We have started, without going into too many details, we have started a
Right.
process in terms of contacting his family and offering suggestions for them. Because at the same time, too, you don't want to overstep your boundaries as a
Okay.
neighbor, as a non-family member.
Right.
So suggesting options for them to do so that they are persons or organizations that they can reach out to as well.
Right. Yeah. Just make sure he's taken care of and knows that, because sometimes some persons are willing to accept help in those situations, and some people are so stubborn in their ways that as much as you know their shortcomings and you're trying to help, they're like, I am good. I
Exactly.
don't want any help, kind of thing.
Exactly.
So, but the thing is that I think this whole situation though is going to bring communities closer together. People are going to be looking out for each other a bit more, and I hope that when the curfew is finished, that we remember these things and we don't just run back to try to find that life that we used to have, and that we
Correct.
remember now the life that really brings us closer together as we look after each
Yep.
other. So I'm hoping that
Agreed.
will be the case. Okay, so we've been pretty serious there for a while. So what's the fun thing that you have been doing? While working? I kind of got a head start. That's why I'm like my eyes are rolling. What is the
Well,
thing you've been
I've
doing
been,
for the
I, I
season?
have been trying to do a few things to get my mind off of things. Well, one thing is, I mean, like the memes are crazy. Like the memes out there are like, you guys like keep me going. That's the truth. That is the truth. Some of these memes are really funny. And then like the whole extempo challenge, I felt that was like really top. Like
Yes,
that was top.
yes,
For me, personally, I have actually taken back up singing,
right,
even though don't call me a Rihanna, but basically it allows me like a little time to forget about everything else. So
right.
I kind of just like listen to the radio, or like I would put on some karaoke or something on the computer, and I would just record myself singing.
Okay,
Uh, don't ask for the recordings, but
I was actually going to ask you to sing now. Ask you to just sing a little bit. No,
no,
no.
not gonna happen. Very sorry.
I must admit,
That is my coping mechanism.
when I first started coming out into the internet space, stepping out, the first thing I did to push me out was to sing a
Mhm.
song on Facebook.
Oh, really?
Yes, I sang my way on
Okay,
Facebook.
I
And
missed that.
yeah, I guess so. I guess you have to go for the replay.
Exactly.
But it was great. I mean, I'm not saying the singing was great, but the experience was great. The experience actually I recognize has done a lot for me now. And
Right,
therefore
yeah.
there's some things that we may do and we are making fun of it and we're not sure, but really and truly it does help. So you may not be ready for this on this particular occasion to do your debut, but maybe bringing you closer to that time where you really step
Maybe in
up.
a group. And maybe in a group. I actually used to sing like on worship teams and stuff when I was a little younger. I
Okay,
used to sing alto on worship teams and in choirs and that kind of stuff like that. Maybe
okay.
in a group, but I don't know if I'm ready. I'm ready for the solo act yet.
Well, actually, I too was part of. I love singing. I love music. I wouldn't be bold enough to stand up and say that I'm a singer, but usually when I'm leading service, I find that then I'm like sometimes it's soloist until everyone catches on or whatever, you know. But I have been part of the National Methodist Youth Choir those many years ago,
Ah.
and over time, anytime there's a choir, I try to join in more for me to enjoy the music than anything else. And actually, a few weeks ago, or into the Amy Zion Church, we had a
Okay.
concert here, and they did the recording of two songs. So I
Mm.
can now claim that I was part of a recording choir.
You are a recording artist.
Yeah, hopefully, if you hear anyone that went off, you wouldn't recognize it might have been me. But with all the technology, I think they'll be able to lower me if I was the one that
Yeah,
went
yeah,
off.
exactly.
But
Video editing is life.
but I must admit, as I was standing there and recognized that this was a recording, this is going to be recorded somewhere, and that my voice would have been part of those many voices. I thought, wow, you
Yeah,
know,
exactly. It's
from
kind of sobering, isn't
yeah,
it?
yeah, from those days standing on the James Street Methodist Church steps at Harvest or the Tea Party singing "This Little Light of Mine," I'm gonna let it shine, or one of those other little songs that we had to sing during that time. There's one that we used to sing a lot that I wouldn't come back to me right now. Something about red and blue, yellow, black and white. Um,
Oh, that's Jesus loves the little children of the world. Yeah.
Yes,
Jesus
we
loves
work
the
well.
little children.
Yes, we had to
Yeah.
sing that almost every time. And so, I mean, to move from there and then to find that your last time on stage, you were part of this recording group, it's pretty
It's
interesting.
true.
It's pretty
It is
interesting to
true.
see where we end up in our journey.
Oh my goodness.
Okay, so as we start to wrap up on this time, what is one of the things that you would like to leave as a parting thought? It doesn't have to be anything particularly profound, or just something that you would like persons to just remember at this time.
Okay, so first of all, my tip to the businesses, particularly, especially those that are now offering online services, not necessarily deliveries, but I realized that there are a lot of persons that were offering like online concerts, online
Mhm.
vets, online whatever. So my thought with you, I guess, would be to consider how you can monetize that in the future, because a lot of them were free, and I guess it was because of the whole pandemic. You wanted to help persons, at home to cope with the
Yes,
situation and what's not.
yeah,
But obviously, that will not be sustainable in the future,
yeah,
especially if it has to be on a prolonged basis.
yeah,
So I would challenge you businesses that are offering online services just to consider how you can monetize your services, your online services in the future. Um, in terms of for personal, what I would say is please try to still have fun while you're at home, um, like to keep your sanity. Yeah, because like honestly, like anxiety is a real thing. Um, like mental health, you have definitely to take care of your mental health in times like these, especially for persons who are not home with families or with other people. They might be there by themselves and that kind of stuff. You still have to find ways to cope day to day. I mean, every day will not be perfect. Um, like for instance, I had a mini anxiety attack yesterday,
Mhm.
and Lord knows what brought it on, but yeah. um, Thank God that is over.
Good.
So yeah, but every day definitely will not be perfect. But you still have to, to find ways to entertain yourself. Maybe tune out from all of the doom and gloom that is on the internet, the radio, the TV, etc. And just take some time out to do something for yourself, even if it is actually like I know there are people that like actually a friend of mine, her anniversary was yesterday, and she literally still dressed up and dolled up like if it was a date, and like if they were going out.
Mhm.
And I thought that was really
Yeah,
brilliant.
that was great.
Yeah, exactly. So like, you know, like just because you're home, it doesn't mean that you have to be like all in your bed all day and doing nothing. And
Yeah.
yeah, so yeah, just find something to do.
Yeah, and that's what. So for me, for example, for these talks, and for everything else that I've been doing in life, I've been dressing up for the part. So today I have on my shirt and I have on my shorts that I would normally wear on a tour. I just didn't
Right,
have any
yeah.
shoes because of that exercise thing. I didn't need to get that foolish idea that it was going somewhere. But when I do the church, when I have worship sessions, I get dressed for church, as much as I can. And anything else, I try to dress the part. Well, then I'm just doing my Facebook Lives while I'm just in my regular, you know, in clothes and that type of thing. So yeah, it's important for us to try to still try to keep some level of normalcy. So get up,
Yep,
try to have breakfast on time, try to schedule your day, do stuff. Because the times that
correct.
you don't schedule the day, that's the days that you really have a challenge. So I
It's very true.
to schedule days as much as possible. And but like you, I'm also trying not to be so hard on myself during
Yep.
during that time. Trying very hard. That is such a real challenge. It's
It
amazing
is.
challenge that is. When
It is.
and like yourself, you have everything is up to you. So you pretty much have to get stuff done. But then
Correct.
you want to rest. You want to go spend time on social media looking at those memes or watching whatever. And then you don't realize just how much time you end up spending doing that. I know you
That
don't
is
have
true.
enough time in that particular day to do the things you really needed to do. So those are
Yep.
things, some decisions you have to make, like social media is from this time to this time and not for the rest of the day until
Correct.
whatever. So those are little things
Like
that you have to put in place.
for me too, like what I have started doing is identifying 5 things or less that I want to do in a particular day, and basically during the day would check off and see, like, you know, like if I was able to get those things done. So
Exactly.
not only
Yeah.
work, but like other things as well too. So like cleaning, um, anything like that. Cooking sometimes is a task in itself.
Yeah.
So so yeah, so like I would start out the day knowing the 5 things I would like to get done. Sometimes, as I said, like yesterday was a bad day. So like I probably got nothing. I don't know, maybe one thing on my list done yesterday.
Right. Right.
But at the same time, you also have to remember too that your body needs rest. And sometimes when you are feeling tired and that kind of thing, it's not by chance. Is honestly that your body is telling you that you need to
Yes. Yes.
rest. So it
Yes.
is listening to your body as well and not beating yourself up for not being able to do the things that you plan, basically.
Yes. And that thing, I remember someone saying to me some time ago that you're not going to sleep if your body doesn't want to sleep. So it's not going to rest
It's
unless
true.
it's going to rest. So as much as you think, okay, let me rest, if it doesn't need the rest, it's not going to rest. It's going to get you up. And really and truly know that you mentioned it. What just came to me is that I'm upset with myself because I'm trying to rest within a week, but I've just gone from December right down to just before COVID um, issue started here. I was going every single day without rest. And so
Hmm.
that's almost 2.5 months. So why am I really being so okay, Dawn? All right. That's not in front of all of you and probably my other directors. Oh no. Um, yeah. Okay. Moving on. Moving on along. Yes. So yeah. So the really and truly, that's it. We are so hard on ourselves. Sorry, something just went into my eye. Being so
Yeah, no
hard on
problem.
ourselves when we put it into perspective, because 2.5 months of constantly going and giving and all that kind of stuff, and now you're hard on yourself because you've taken about 2 hours out of a day just to rest every day.
Exactly.
So you're not
Exactly.
being very fair to yourself. And really and truly, honestly, I should probably just take 3 days and do absolutely nothing but rest. I probably should
You
do
should.
that.
You probably should.
Yeah, I probably should. But let's see how that works on the up top here. But we'll see. So thank you so much, Dawn, for joining us today. And it was such a pleasure having you. I know you talked about
Yes,
your
it was.
anxieties yesterday, but you look fabulous today. So you showed up fabulous today.
Thank
So that
you.
is fine. That is fine. We can always bounce back from those anxiety days and just look
Very
fabulous
much so.
after that. So thank you so much for joining
And
us
thank you
again.
too.
for the Curfew Lime. You're more than welcome. And again, my invitation is extended to anyone who wants to come and join us. As you can see, we talk about anything that you want to talk about because the idea is to just to share our reality, share our
Mm.
authentic
And
self, sorry,
have a chat.
and have a chat.
No pun,
Yes.
no pun intended.
During this time to give you some encouragement. Okay, so please reach out and let us know, and feel free to share this video with anyone that you think may benefit and may have a little enlightenment. Okay, don't forget to have some fun in anything and everything that you do. Bye. See you next time. Bye, Dawn.